Do you want to multi-class but not feel like you suck? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you multiple options for those multi-classing needs coming up. Welcome to the Dungeon Coach. I'm the Dungeon Coach. I'm going to help you lower that DC in your game and increase your options for multi-classing. You might not know this, but multi-class rules were the last thing added to the core rulebook and had almost zero playtesting. It's not even a real rule. It's a variant in the player's handbook that only has 2 pages for it. This is way too cool of an option for your class to have it be some 2-page blow-off. I've always felt that there's something lacking in this system. It's so restrictive and in most cases leaves you weaker than your purebred counterparts. In my opinion, it feels like the current system punishes players for creative ideas or custom class options. So you want a solution that fixes all that and gives dynamic choice when creating your character? That brings me to the first sponsor of this channel, Master of None Multiclassing Variants. This is an entire 57-page document about nothing but multiclassing. I'm doing a giveaway for free copies of this book, but we'll get into that and how to win at the end of the video. How this whole thing happened was you guys hit that like button over 100 times on this video to unlock this video. And last week while I was writing the script for this video, one of my patrons, Pagnabros, showed me this homebrew that just came out. But the craziest thing is one of the 5 systems in this book is exactly what I've been using at my table for years. So I reached out and contacted the authors and they agreed to sponsor this video. Now to be totally transparent, I am not getting paid for this. This digital book is the single best multi-classing homebrew resource that there is. It gives you 5 different multi-classing methods that you're bound to love at least one of, or all of them. They have traditional multi-classing, which are just suggestions on some creative boosts to add a little bit extra spice to those base classes. There's also an interesting narrative choice model that gives you a little mini quiz to take. It reminds me about those online quizzes about which Disney princess are you, but cooler. The DM asks the player these roleplay questions, and they can multi-class towards what's appropriate. The third option is a bold one, and it's called Gestalt multi-classing. Your players will love this one because it literally combines 2 classes into one. The fourth one's mind-blowing, and it's a modular class building design. It's an entire point-buy system that lets you customize your class feature by feature. You build them from scratch in a complicated but brilliant system. Me and the authors of this book must think pretty similarly because this is also something I was working on. But all that's for another video. And the topic of this video is a system I've already been using for years, which happens to be number 5, feature swapping. So we're going to go over that feature swapping method and give examples from characters levels 1 through 20 on how it works. I'll also go over additional homebrew fixes and that giveaway. Time out. We got 2 disclaimers here. This is a next level homebrew. Like, it's out there. A lot of you out there might not like it, and that's fine. This system is best fit for those story-driven characters and could be abused by those min-max players out there. You know who you are. In fact, I challenge those players to make a busted character and put it down in the comments. But it's up to the DM to keep the balance of their game, and I've had these players at my table and have personally never ran into this issue. And final tip here is I always heavily encourage my players to have a story or a roleplay reason why they're multi-classing. Whether it's their plan or backstory from level 1 or something triggers it to happen mid-campaign. Let your multi-class and the abilities you get tell the story of your character. So I challenge you to have an open mind and really watch this and see what you think. Here we go. This feature swap system basically works like this. When you create your character, you choose what's called your base class. This is what you get your default hit dice, saving throws, and proficiencies from. Your multi-class would be that other class that you're spicing up your base class with. Now the fun begins. When you level up, you can choose to replace the features you'd normally be granted with your base class with features of the same level or lower from your multi-class. It's best to explain this with an example, so my Patreon supporters voted on what 2 classes I'll use. So here we're going to have a base druid who wants to multi-class into paladin mid-campaign. This will be a level 1 druid whose force is destroyed early on in the campaign. He wants to make an oath to the ancients, and he vows to restore that forest to its former glory. So as soon as this character levels up to level 2, he would of course have access to those level 2 druid abilities, but he'd also have access to the level 1 paladin features as well. And let's say the player chooses that, and he now has the level 1 features Divine Sense and Lay on Hands. Nothing too crazy so far, but let's keep going. His access to each of these classes are staggered or offset in a way, since he didn't start off the campaign with this paladin flavor. So he's level 2 now with 1 level from druid and 1 level from paladin. So he levels up to 3 and he's got some options now. He could get the level 3 druid features or go back and get the level 2 druid features that he missed. Or he could get the level 2 paladin features. So many options. So for this, let's go back and pick up those level 2 druid features, which gives us our wild shapes and makes them even better because we can pick Circle of the Moon. Okay, let's keep going. So now we level up to 4, and as you can see, our base class and multi-class are leveling up together. And like a class building buffet table, you'll be able to make choices along the way, picking what you want. So now for our level 4 choice, we can choose from the level 3 or 4 druid features or the level 2 or 3 paladin features. But I'm going to go with level 3 paladin to pick up that Oath of the Ancients for that great roleplay choice. And as a quick tip here, this might be a perfect part of the story to weave in that this player gets to speak to the god of the forest. Okay, so now we're level 5 and we have even more options. I'm going to go back and get the level 2 paladin features for fighting style and those smites. And you might see where I'm going with this, because now we have a Protector of the Forest Circle of the Moon druid that can shapeshift into animals and empower its claws with divine smites. What's that you say? You can't cast smites while shapeshifted? Well, yes you can, because that's freaking awesome. Now we're level 6, and you might be tempted to take that extra attack option. Or you... Time out! This is where we need to talk about progressive abilities. These are signature class mechanics that scale with your level in that class, like Barbarian Rages and Rogue Sneak Attack. Druid's Wild Shape is one of these progressive abilities, so even though our Druid level options are increasing, we've put a lot of levels into Paladin and only have 2 levels in Druid right now. So our Wild Shapes and even spells won't be as strong if we keep neglecting that Druid side. So with this system, you still need to keep track of how many levels you have in which class. This is not just for those progressive abilities, but also how many spell slots you have. Use the multiclassing spell level chart on page 165 in the player's handbook. Here's another example. Halfway through my last campaign, one of my players was a level 10 Storm Herald Barbarian. He had grown in touch with his lightning powers so much that he wanted to start going down the path of the Storm Sorcerer. So again, we were already in the middle of the campaign and his base class of Barbarian was already at 10. But through wanting to grow and roleplay his character in this way, when he hit level 11, he now had options. He could choose the features from a level 11 Barbarian or a level 1 Sorcerer. So as he leveled towards 20, this offset would always stay the same. And like that class buffet analogy, he could pick and choose what he wanted as he leveled up and still get his level 20 capstone ability at the end. I got 2 bonus tips here. I use this multi-class system hand in hand with my bonus level up system. The link's right here to that video, which is already connected to this video. So for me as the DM, when my player levels and makes that choice, I look for what gaps there are. A lot of times players are looking for a certain feel when they play their character, and you might be able to give them just a little pinch of an ability to help make it feel that way. So to use that Barbarian for an example, a lot of times you want to stay true to his roots, and he kept choosing the Barbarian options. But as the DM, I could tell that he really wanted to have a little bit more lightning flavor. So his bonus level ups usually had to do with some more lightning abilities, including a homebrew lightning tackle I gave him. And a second tip here for those longer campaigns is you can easily run campaigns past level 20 if you use this system. If you want to do those Paragon levels, they can still pick up a lot of those options that they missed. For my last example, what if you want to multi-class right off the bat at level 1? If a player already knows they're going to be multi-classing and it's part of their character's identity from the start, I have them start with their base and multi-class at the same level to choose from when they start off. And they'll increase together so there's not a permanent stagger between them and they can freely choose back and forth. My patrons also came up with a cool example for this. A sorcerer who is born into a bloodline of magic but rejects that path and takes up a sword to train as a fighter. So he'd start the campaign off with both of these options at the same level. The player would have to keep in mind that those sorcerer levels are what affect his overall spell potential, but the fighter side of things, he could become an Eldritch Knight. And as a side note, I would totally let that Eldritch Knight sorcerer use charisma for spells. Hold on now, time out. Dungeon Coach, you're giving these players way too much. Sorry for that accent. Now maybe I'm just too nice of a DM, unless you've seen my Death Homebrew video. But at level 1, I give my players a bonus DM feat. I usually make it up and homebrew it for them on the spot for something that feels right for what they're going for. And for those level 1 multi-class characters like this sorcerer fighter, I would picture based on the backstory, this character would choose fighter as their base class. So my bonus perks would come from their multi-class and I'd give them some spells. I want to give my players who have a vision for their class the ability to feel that right off the bat, at least a little bit. Or what I've done before, if it fits the whole group, is let players start off with the features from both classes at level 1. What? You're crazy, coach! I know that might sound crazy, but hold on. A lot of campaigns don't even start off at level 1. So this could be a good solution to still start off at level 1, even though it's technically level 2, and have those early level players still feel like they have some options with their class. This is known as Gestalt leveling and is also covered in the Master of None resource. In this method, as you level up, you literally get the resources from both classes every single time. Now, I've never done that before because that would lead to some pretty strong players pretty quick. But at the end of the day, it's your job as the Dungeon Master to control how strong you let your players become. Just make sure that they earn that power and you balance your encounters accordingly. I know at my table my players are stronger than average. I balance that equation with even bigger and badder enemies with cool mechanics. This feature swap system adds some flexibility that I feel like is missing in the current game and has led to some awesome multi-class characters at my table. Also, to throw this out there, is usually I don't use the multi-class prerequisite stats that you need to be able to multi-class. I personally don't put this restriction on players, because if you want to be a wizard with a low intelligence, that's your call. But you better roleplay that struggle that it would be to try and learn those spells with such a low intelligence. Or just bring that requirement down to 10. But in all fairness, I give bonus level ups to my players along with ability score increases as they level. What a nice DM. Before we get into that giveaway, here's some comments from you guys in the last video. Sabra13 has each ability his players gain have a story behind it. They have to roleplay or explain how they learned everything they can do, whether it's from a mentor, an item, or an enemy. I love hearing when my homebrews I've used for years are already used by some of you guys. Jack Vale said he also buffs cantrips and level 1 spells based on how his players use them. And good old Varge uses 3.5 D&D classes for his bonus perks. And lastly, Francisco Tapia says he uses this bonus perk system, but only for ability score increases. We talked back and forth down in the comments, and we homebrewed something for one of his players. And now it's time for that giveaway. This giveaway is only going on for 6 days and ends March 27th, so you gotta be quick. Realm Warp Media will be giving away one free copy of their digital resource, Master of None, for every 50 likes that this video gets. So technically, that's an infinite amount of books. But how do I win? All you have to do after you like this video is leave a comment down below saying which of these 4 methods from this book that you want to see a follow-up video on. You can only enter once per person, and the winner will be chosen randomly from the comments. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll message you back to let you know you won. I'll also be announcing the winner on my Facebook page and Discord to get a hold of you. And if this video gets 300 likes, I'll do a follow-up video over one of those 4 most requested multi-classing systems. The Master of None authors also agreed to sponsor that video with another giveaway for even more copies. And speaking of giving, we've been doing that a lot recently on this channel. We had some great questions in the Q&A last night, and we had a mystery donator. He chose to only be known as the Traveler, and he gave a $20 Patreon membership to someone in the live stream. This community we've built is so awesome and so giving. So I'll be doing another live stream this next Wednesday, March 25th at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And as you can see, I got a new film set up. And I want to thank the people that made this possible. So here they all are. We got some new patrons recently with Spencer was here, and 2 new Ancient Dragons with Mr. President and Senjum. It has been great helping you guys with your campaigns, and I can't wait to hear more. I'm also in the middle of a Patreon giveaway that only has 1 week left. The winner gets to collaborate with me on a video and pick a topic themselves, and maybe even guest star in it. So that's it. Thank you for everyone that came to the live stream on Wednesday. Thank you to my Patreons for all of this. And thank you to the sponsor of this video, Master of None. This truly is a great resource, and if you don't win it in this contest, you should go check it out for yourself. So until next time, stay creative and think outside that box. Peace. What is going? What? That's crazy. What? That's crazy. You're crazy, coach. What? You're crazy, coach. You're crazy, coach. You're crazy. What? You're crazy, coach.